I am Bright Darian, a poultry scientist, a mass production expert, an extension specialist, and an inventor and designer of incubators from Okpara Inland in Delta State. After all many struggles to go abroad, get education and everything, I ended up first in Spain, where I was an interpreter between the U.S. Air Force base in Torrejon and the Spanish moving companies. There I saw plenty of eggs I never saw before in my life in Nigeria. Pure white eggs, brown eggs, well washed in the market, restaurant market, Atocha market, and things like that. So these people could produce eggs like this. I was touched. Then in the restaurant, when you want to consume, you slaughter a whole chicken into two. One half to serve one person, another half to another person. And my first experience where we were consuming, they use fork and knife to eat chicken. They just pick small flesh out of it and eat. At the end of it, they leave all the succulent part of the chicken, the most delicious part, which we can grab with our hand and munch down graciously. They left. I eyed their plates with plenty of meat left. I looked left, looked right. How do these people consume their food? Like chickens too. So my idea into poultry became very high. And eventually I ended up becoming a poultry scientist through the help of my US friends from Air Force Base. I was in charge of moving them in every 3 years. They send in new soldiers from Air Force men from the US to the base. And every 3 years they send them back to the US. I was in charge of their moving. I bring them in, receive their goods, send them to their homes, and package, we pack them. I interpret to the Spanish workers. You pack this, you pack that, then they know how to, that is the embalaje in Spain. After that, my duty was to number them and write in an inventory all the items we take from the man and to be shipped back to his village. And I take the inventory of all the items received from America for a specific soldier or Air Force man. And the ones we see, the ones we don't see. Now what struck me so much is during this period, whatever I write on the inventory that is received from the man, if one is missing, they pay him. They replace it for him immediately, without question. They will not even ask me, or they don't go into investigation. And during that period, if I mistakenly write that a television set or a refrigerator is among the items and it is not there, you will be given. But to my surprise, no US Air Force man came to me and said, please help me, add this, add that one. No. If I say the television is broken and I write it on my inventory, there are 10 items to describe any product, any material, any equipment. 10 items, 1, 2, 3 to 10, the front, the back, the side, everything describing it. If I say this is broken, it will be replaced. The US Air Force will replace it without a question. If it were in Nigeria, they will say, come on, put this one, I will give you this. Nothing like that. The only thing they did was Spanish wine. They were not allowed to take it to the US, but they will beg me, please put one bottle into the kitchen miscellaneous. Plates and everything, forks and knives. That was the only offense we committed. So, through their help, I have a friend in every state in the US, retired Air Force men and so forth. Through their assistance and our ambassador to the US, Risameka Ignatius, they all gathered to help me to attain my level in poultry science. In fact, he visited me in the US. Now, when I came back to Nigeria, I said, yes, now Nigeria is going to produce chicken that everybody will be available to eat. So what happened, eventually I was invited. Pressmen like you came. They put up something on the poultry industry in Nigeria. He wanted to know something about it. This is the newspaper, very old newspaper. How old were you in 1979?
Very young then.
Very young. This is 1979. And this is Chief Awolo was still there, and Jakonde. Then this place, that's it here, Sunday Tribune. Sunday Tribune, supplement on poultry, pages 5, 7, and 10. Then I started talking on the poultry industry in Nigeria. At a point, I now say we need an association of poultry farmers. That's it here. How poultry farmers can help themselves. This is where I called for the Association of Poultry Association in Nigeria. To my surprise, there was immediate response from Benin and few from Lagos. So I was invited to Benin. The traditional ruler, the Oba of Benin, was very much interested. Akenswa, Rediawa, the second, late Rediawa, the father of the present Oba of Benin. We are always in his palace. After we meet, we go to him, he will encourage us. And within 3 months, we registered the Poultry Association of Nigeria with Solo Jeme, who had a large poultry farm at Ikoba Hill, producing eggs for Benin. He was the first pro tem president of the association. And this is the okay. This is the first certificate produced by the association in December 8. This is the third certificate. I got it. The president, Selojeme, got the first certificate, and this is his signature there. They signed it. This is the original certificate after the association was formed. Then something started to happen in Nigeria. The news went around that there is somebody who is selling incubator, a machine to hatch eggs, chicks, in hundreds, in thousands, are advertised. Then one day policemen were sent from Lagos to come and arrest me at Ibadan. That this man is duping the people. How can you say there is a machine hatching eggs? Only the chicken can hatch eggs. I was surprised. 1980, Nigerians did not know what is incubator. Yes, graduates from University of Ibadan, they wrote to me that you are an intelligent man duping the people. Then one of them, who was very close to Shifawolowo's house in Molete area, I went to him, wrote a letter. That very day, one incubator was hatching chicks. So I went to him and said, "Good morning, sir. This is a letter for you." He looked at it and read it. That he is invited to come and see the machine, how it is hatching chicks, that he will meet them hatching. He said, "So is it true? So there is something that can hatch eggs?" I said, "Yes." So he did not come. So from that time, I have to change the name from incubator to artificial hen. I said, "Come and see artificial hen hatching chicks." This is the artificial hen. Bola Ige, who was the governor there, came. These are the policemen that came with Bola Ige. This is myself, and this is see artificial hen hatch chicks. PB Dance International, that's the name of my company. This was the problem at that time. It was a hell of it, trying to persuade the people to learn, listen and learn. We do not have that culture of learning. We are not curious. If you visit a white man and the wife comes out to welcome you and say, "How are you?" Before you turn back to go, he has pictured your body, your image. He knows every spot on your face, any crack in your teeth, the way you move. By the time the man is back, he's going to describe everything. But here, we don't want to know. That is Nigeria. So these are the things I went through at that time, persecution after persecution. Then, later, after the whole matter became clear, a professor at the University of Benin, Professor Atiboroko, he now arranged with me and his brother at Lagos, the owners of a water machine restaurant for an incubator. So when they sent somebody to me, Asapele, to see what is going on, he saw iron, pieces of iron all over the compound. He greeted me warmly and left to Lagos to report that, "Look, oh, you are foolish. This man is duping you. How can you say somebody will do an incubator, put eggs, and they will hatch, and you agree, you gave him money? They chop your money." Huh? They brought policemen from all the way from Lagos to meet me at Sapele, and I was arrested. But before they came, I have completed the incubator. It was already working in the car. It's a very big one. I could walk inside it like a kiosk. I was a friend, the principal of a government technical college. I went to him that evening, told him that incubator is now completed, it's now working. Then my daughter came and said, "Somebody is asking for you." I went home. When I got there, I saw two young men like you. Yeah. My first question was, "Are you policemen?" He said, "No, sir, but I came from Jos. We want to I said, "Tell me, are you policemen?" "I am the person. I'm Dr. General. That I was a doctor, that I have not been a professor." He said, "Well, sir, you have a business with some." I said, "Oh, yes, it's an incubator. Look at it outside." Then we went down to look at it. They saw it, even their name printed on it, very big one. They said, "Well, I should follow them, that they are policemen." So we went to Sapele police station. When I was there, they now asked me to sit down behind the counter. The policemen went out to make investigation about me. The following morning, they said I will follow them to Lagos. They came with a station wagon, Peugeot car. They put me at the center, one sat there like a criminal, the other sat here. They drove me all the way from Sapele in Delta State to Lagos. So while we were going, my people were following. We got to Bode Thomas police station. in Lagos. They put me in the hall. Radio was announcing that that intelligent criminal had been apprehended and is now brought to Surulere, Bode Thomas Police Station, Surulere. That was in the year 1987. Well, I sat there. I was waiting. They now came to confront me in an area where I'm a specialist. What question are you going to ask me? At that period, I started lecturing them, telling them how we make incubator to hatch. We studied the hen, how the hen is hatching. In fact, there was a time I had to stay on top of a plant with instrument in Savannah, US, watching chickens and then turtles. So what happened, as I was addressing the policemen, the DPO at the point put down his pen, relaxed, sat and looked at me very pensively. I said, yes, this man you are telling the truth. Where are the policemen who brought him? They said, they brought him. He said, did you make any inquiry? They said, yeah. What did they tell you? They said, well, sir, he is doing this thing, he's hashing them. He has hashed them. I said, okay. Say, please come, Prof. You are the one you are the type we need in Nigeria. They took me across the police station, across the road to a restaurant. And inside the restaurant, they told the woman, look, this man is the one who manufactures your fridge. And I said, look, police, I not do fridge, so you will not arrest me again that I'm doing refrigerator. Before I left, before my people arrived at that station, I have been released. And I got a contract there to produce incubator for somebody in Jebu-Jesha. At Jebu-Jesha. He's a farmer. So they connected me. I pocketed a lot of money from that arrest. And then I came back to Sapele. They gave me 200 naira to charter a big lorry to transport the incubator back to Surulere. So when we got there, I was given a warehouse where we put the incubator to test. I bought 200 eggs from Hebrew farm, Michelle Farms at Mosuga in Sapele. We incubated them. I told the police when the very day they are going to hatch. On that day, when they came, those who arrested me, everybody, they all came. Before they got there, chicks were already piam, 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 everywhere. They say, hey, do you have somebody who is doing this thing for you? I say, who can be doing it for me? Why don't you know that person? So they bargained that I should come and help them for the hatching period. I said, no, I will not do any business with you again because if one egg should fall down and break, you will arrest me. That was how we ended that one. Then that very year, Babangida, his government planned a presidential task force on how to use local ingredients to produce feeds for animals, chickens, goats, cows, everything like that. So I said, well, such a task force, I should be one of them. I tried to be one of them. I was not taken. Then what happened? I have to write about a full page of the newspaper, listing a lot of all the ingredients, the raw materials we have in Nigeria, how to mix them together to form different rations for different animals. And immediately, Nigerian Observer, the second day they published it full. Babangida listing, it was announced by Chief Olufalaye, then Secretary to the Federal Government. Babangida listened to this publication, they stopped the presidential task force. Nigerian government would have wasted a lot of money sending the people to Europe and America. When they come back, they will learn nothing. They only give you sheets of paper, they do this, and that was the end of it. We have the people here now who can do it. Poultry industry today is a multi-million naira business for anybody who can produce 100 to 200 chicks today. But they do not know. They will not understand because of their carelessness. They need to know, to learn. That is why I went into the research on the monomad system of poultry production for African, for developing nations. Now in poultry production, you have to produce like Nigerians. If you follow African, American, European system, you will fail. That is why they are failing. Poultry farmers will continue to fail. No amount of money invested in it will make them to succeed. They will fail. All the use of the drug in the whole world, give it to them, they will fail. They have to understand the monomad system, which I, Professor Darian, researched for all the countries in Africa. Ghana would have taken me down, but I said, no, look, this thing, charity should begin at home. Nigeria must get this thing done before we go to Africa, to Ghana, Kenya, everywhere. I was looking for something like this. Today, let me tell you, Dr. Wanshuku is doing something he did not understand yet. His association has started a very mighty program which this country wants, which Africa wants.
We are on the pilot scheme talking about poultry revolution in Nigeria, a system whereby we can make poultry meat and egg available at all times and at a cheaper rate, whereby you need only not more than 2,000 naira to nurture a bird from brooding to maturity. And in 6 weeks, they are almost better to eat. Starting from 5 weeks, you can eat them. So with the nanotechnology, the birds will really be sick and they will be healthy, they will be smart and matured at a ripe time. And that is what happens elsewhere. So we have brought the technology here in Nigeria, and we have told our people to queue in so that poultry meat and egg will be available for our children, the aged, and everyone in particular. Because in Nigeria, bird mortality is the major key factor that is making the poultry industry difficult for farmers. And another thing is the cost of nurturing, the cost implication. When you calculate it, the go around in Nigeria, you have so many poultry farms that have closed down because of the cost effect is high. But with this nutrient, you can grow a bird from brooding to maturity, and you have a minimum, not up to 2,000 naira. The highest is 2,000 per bird. So if you nurture, brood, and sell at 2,500, you have made a profit. So that is exactly what we are targeting. The farmers are happy, and then in no distant time, poultry meat and egg will be available. It's also a source of employment. It's also an employment for the youths. The civil servants or the people in the employment industry can use it as a retiree package for those of them retiring from the service. They can retire and fall back to poultry farm. It is an industry that we want to use to create employment. We want to use for the retiring. Most of our people in the police service, most of our people in the customs, all these services in the civil service, when they retire, they need a retiring package so they can get to agriculture. The nano nutrient and nano fertilizer guarantees a bumper harvest. It guarantees you that the quick maturity, not only the nutrient, but the fertilizer also in the agri industry.
This is the beginning of the poultry industrial revolution in Nigeria, which will later spread to Ghana, Kenya, Africa, South Africa, other places. Nigeria is a bellwether to Ghana. Whatever happens in Nigeria today, tomorrow is going to happen in Ghana. So if this revolution goes around, believe me, there will be a change. From now till the end of next year, the change will come gradually. But there is already a change. There is an awareness. If you bring something, drugs, this is Dr. Wanshuku brought these drugs, and he's doing the perfect thing, the right thing to be done. You don't just go bring materials and say, take, when you use this one, your chicken will. He wants to train them. He wants them to know why they are failing. And they have to understand the rule of thumb in poultry production. And taking care of the chicken in poultry, the management begins with mother hen that lays the egg. Then the hatchling. There's a lot to be learned in poultry production. And once you know the rule of thumb, millions is nothing for you. Any woman, even backyard planners, they will make millions. So this is the key issue for now. Dr. Wanshuku brought this thing. When he gave it to me, I looked at it. Okay, the packaging is very standard.
All right, Prof. Sorry, I was coming to that because I know that that thing you have in your hand is called animal nutrients produced with what they call nanotechnology. Prof, okay. This is your field. Can you just take a few minutes to talk to us about your own observation as regards to that animal nutrient in your hand? And I've seen Miracle 1 also on your table. Okay. That's your area. What can you say about that
this
item?
Is what I was really going to hammer out. When he gave it to me, I winked. I said, okay, yeah, from Thailand. All right, thank you very much. We shook hands and we left. That very day, I called Musa at Isiokolo. How are your chickens doing? He said, well, some are sick. He wanted to go and buy drug. I said, you wait. I am coming. So I went to him. They were already sick. I know what was wrong. That is another science. This forum will not be for that. So we brought 20 of them. I have a monomat pockets in one of my rooms there. We divided the chicks into 2. 10 here, 10 in the other pocket. Then I gave them this drug to drink. This nano drug. I gave 10, and the other one, they used the other drug for them. So because we don't want them to die without treatment. I got my binocular to watch from a distance to see you have to hide yourself so that they are themselves. You watch their movement, you watch how sometimes in your presence, they will not react. They will feel like they are strong. You have to keep away from them. That is why I go with my binocular, watching them from a distance. Then you can see them, they are breathing, the way they move, the pains in them, you observe it. Within 1 hour of giving them this drug,
animal nutrient,
they started to respond.
Wow.
They started to respond. Then I left. I traveled out to Warri. When I came back, there was more activities. The first thing you will observe is there will be reduction in feeding when they fall sick. There will be reduction in drinking. But the water I gave to them, I have automatic drinker there, but I shut it off and gave them the 4-liter drinkers so that I can calculate whether they are drinking or they are not drinking well. By the time I came, the thing has gone almost half. But the other side, no life. Wow, I said that is the proof. See, the proof of the healing is not you are healed. No, you don't need to prove too much. The proof of the healing is the healing. Yeah, the bone is broken, and the thing has healed. What proof again do you want? So this thing did immediately. I do not know Dr. Wanshuku. If he's here, if he comes here now, I will not know him. I have to meet him and study his nose very well before I can now recognize him. So this is the thing. Immediately, out of joy, I sent a text to him that look, this is the thing. The thing works very well in group of Mycoplasma gallisepticum. It took control of all those diseases. And it's not, see, what I noted is that the makers of this drug, they do not even know how to describe the effect of their product.
Wow.
Yes.
Prof is talking.
Yeah, I'm talking. They need people like us to tell them this is what this thing is doing. If I say it is successful here, why is your own not successful? There is a reason. When you go to look, search, you will find out. You will show him, say, oh, look at it. This is why your birds are dying. You fail to do this, you fail to do that. There are a lot of things the farmer should do. That is why they need some learning. What they are doing, they are doing a trade they do not understand. They are gambling. All the farmers, even those who came from abroad, say you learn, you cannot succeed. You have to know the details here.
All right.
When you put somebody an illiterate, the moment you give him instruction, as you leave, he's going to do whatever he wants. It's not his problem whether they die or they don't die. They keep. Why are they not dying in Europe like that? It's because they understand what they are doing. That is why they don't die. If you order for 1 million eggs chicks every week, they will supply. But do it here, they will say, disease is so flu, kill them. They will complain after complaint. They have to know the rule before they can succeed. If they are not trained, there's no way they will succeed. You must understand. So the farmers are themselves causing the problems in the farm.
All right, Prof. It's so interesting listening to your teachings.
Yeah.
As a living legend, is it true that you are the founder and the first national president of Poultry Farmers Association in Nigeria? Is that true?
I have said it the first time. I called for the Association of the Poultry Farmers of Nigeria. Back in the US, when I was there, we belonged to many associations like that. And we help ourselves. You will discover what made your chickens to survive, why they are big. This we discuss during our conference where we meet. You know why I succeeded, I know why you succeeded. And you learn from me, I learn from you. Even right now, I'm learning from the native women. They will tell you something that their chicken did. I will pick it up, I will research it, and develop on it. So when I called for the association, they responded. So I wasn't the first president. So Lojeme was a big poultry farmer. A lot of some people in Lagos were big, but I was the one who called for the foundation, and I played a very leading role in the final association. That is why this something was produced, the certificate for the association. They invited me to Sokoto to train. That was the Ministry of Education, to train science teachers on poultry production. Eventually, their newspaper, The Path, invited me. Then I wrote on, there's a lot of difference. Look at it. How to produce, how to manage poultry farms successfully under Sokoto climatic condition. From place to place, you have different temperaments towards production. People differ. From Yoruba land, Igbo land, I've gone round all the places. At Enugu, I went as far as Washi, behind Emene, seeing people. In the north, from Sokoto to Yola, I did it. So in Imo, production of poultry, there is a rule. There is a system. They will learn nothing different from the norm. What we have researched, what experience has shown is optimum, is good for optimum performance. This is what they expect to hear. to be encouraged, one, to be told the right thing to do so that they can succeed. Any poultry farmer who can produce up to 200, 100 to 200 chickens, broilers, if he cannot say he made $1 million, it's a lie. Poultry is the easiest means of feeding the people with protein. In the whole world, consumption of meat, first is pig. They consume pork more than cow and other things. The second is chicken before cow. So the more you produce, the more the people consume. If for the poultry industry to be progressive, to be prosper, people must consume chicken. If you do not know how to produce them, how will you prosper? It behooves anybody connected with the industry to do a good job of promoting it, like what Dr. Wanshuku is doing now. He's promoting the industry. We want the good thing to come out so that farmers can grab. If they are dying, we will go there. We let them know what they should do. If they do it, why should chicken die? God has created them. Before they came out of the egg, God gave them something to keep them living for at least 4 days. That is what I discovered recently. That is, they have no breast. Chicken has no breast. And when they come out, the mother has to warm them. What of their feeding? But within that 4 days, something is in them already. I discovered it, which I now call chupete. That is the alternative to breast milk for chicks. So we have to train these people. They have to know the rule. If they understand what to do, chickens will not die. We allow about 3% maximum to die. Mortality should come from accident. You step on a chick, it dies. Or something falls on it, it will die. But not diseases. If you don't need to wait for a disease outbreak before you apply this drug to your chickens. Every week you do it, small, and that is where you gain. Don't wait. If you wait for disease to come out, the disease might have gone to a level where they will die the next day before you give them. So when you give them today and they are already gone, the drug cannot revive it. They will still die with the input of your drug. This is the thing happening all over the nation. Very few poultry farmers are succeeding, and not that they are gaining their full profit. Instead of 100%, they are making only 20%, and they will be happy that I got 20%. You gain 20,000 out of 100,000. It's a big loss, but they don't know here in Nigeria. Poultry farmers should not just bring in the birds and leave them to fend for themselves. The chicken depends on the farmer for survival. You lock them up. If there is heat in a room, what do? You put on the fan to blow you, then you relax. If the heat is, the cold is too much, what do? You cover up your body. But for the chicken, inside the hall, they have no way of defending themselves. They know what to do, but because they are locked up, they are confined, they cannot do what God, the Creator, is telling them to do, to save themselves. So many of them, they die mostly of stress. Once a chicken is stressed, is overstressed, many diseases will come out in them. When the day the chick is hatched, there are 10 diseases lying dormant in them. The 11th one has been discovered. If you do not understand this, these diseases are waiting for opportunity to strike. And what are these opportunities? You put food on the feed for them, then you go away. The feed is not enough. The feed for only 5 chickens. You give it to 20 chickens, then you go away. By the time you come back, only the hefty ones will consume those chickens, and the remaining ones, they are hungry. When you bring another one, those hefty ones who consume the first one are even stronger, and the weaker ones are still there. They will come again and consume the remaining thing. What will happen? They will begin to die. So what we shall do is give them the real training. They have to understand what to do. If they know what to do, no chicken will die. So we need a good seminar, workshop, and train them. What I was saying, this is very important. Veterinary doctors are wasting away in the country. They are the best people to be going to farms. In the way, if all the veterinary doctors will come out, we train them, they will become the attendant, health attendant to so many poultry farms. Every poultry farm should have a health attendant coming to visit them on weekly basis. When they get there, they know how to administer the drug. They know when diseases, they learn faster than these poultry farmers. So they should be attached to their farms. Every farm must have one poultry veterinary doctor who can understand easier. Veterinary doctors are not trained in poultry science. They do not understand poultry production. But when we teach them, they will pick up easily and even begin to teach us. So we want these people to be going around. Government should establish a veterinary center in every local government area, so that I let you know what veterinary doctors should do. They are very, very important in poultry production, animal production, pigs, everything. Veterinary doctors, they are wasting. We have to bring them into this revolution for production to be successful, for chickens, meat to be abundant. Now that cows are reducing very fast, goat animals are reducing very fast, but we can multiply chickens. Why do we fear food shortage? Go to the market now, you cannot buy meat, and meat is the greatest expense in family budget. Now cockerels are very many. The quantity of layers we have is the same quantity of cockerels, and they waste away. When one layer is being sold for 400 naira, the cockerel is being sold for 30 naira because they don't grow big. And there is something we can do. That is how to capronize the cockerels so that they grow big. We will train the veterinary doctors. It's a little surgery required. So when they visit farms and they have cockerels, they bring your cockerels with maybe only 50 or 20 or 100. They will capronize them, that is castrate them. But the organ of the cock is hidden, embedded in the body cavity. They do not know where it is. They do not know how to find it. They do not know how to carry out the operation. This is what we can train the veterinary doctors all over the country to understand. Then our chickens will not be wasted. Every Friday, Niger, they bring these castrated cocks from Niger to sell in Kano market. Very hefty, big. They sell like hot cake, and our own are wasting away. Bring the chicken, let me show you what they should do. It's going to be castrated, will be small, 2, 3, 4 weeks old, 2 to 4 weeks old. When you look, we are looking for the where to operate on the cockerel. Not with your eye. Your finger, you feel it, you know, you did this, you can say, here it is. Here it is. So what you do, you take your surgical knife, remove it, you remove some feathers from the place. When you remove your feathers, now when you look at it, you don't see it, you will not know it. But when you feel it, here it is. It's easier with the smaller chicken than a big one like this. But here it is. If you want to know whether the chicken is a cock or a hen, you find out to look at the male organ, the blocus. So when you get it in, you get your surgical knife. You incise it only one inch long. 1 inch long. Then you get a spreader. You put the spreader, it will hold it wide. As you put it like this, all the internal organs are falling to the ground, leaving a vacuum at the top, so you cannot wound them. Then you open it, you will see the male organ there, the testicle. Then you have your probe. It's not here. You use it to twist it, you bring it out. When you bring it out, you have your forceps. Then you carry it, you twist it away. It's like the egg of a lizard. When you do that, you throw it away. By the time, before you operate, before you cut, you will draw the skin to one side, then you incise it. After the operation, when you leave the skin, it will spring and cover the place. It heals you don't need any drug on it. They will go about eating food. Within 2-3 days, it's healing. And then you see them big and heavy. So they pay for the food you give to them. We will not be throwing them away. We will not be selling them for kobo. And money is there. This is why veterinary need our help, so that they have job. We have work to do. Today they have no work. Go and ask them. They just sit down there looking for drug. If poultry farmers succeed in their production, more business will be coming. There will be demand for whatever you have. Feed millers we have. Why are we having shortage of feed? Because demand is only seasonal. After the end of year poultry production, the demand will just fall, boom. So how will they be producing? So during this period of season now, the supply will be more than the demand. Every year, if you see what I said about the poultry industry, since 1980, the problem has been that of a feed shortage. It's there. A bag of corn at that time was 7 naira 50 kobo. Bag of 50 kg corn. It's here in the paper. But today, see how many thousands. You cannot do it.
So, Prof, do you also have solution on what to do so that we can have feed, even in surplus?
The solution is training the people to be successful at the field. If they are successful and there's constant demand for feed, people will come from Europe to establish feed mills. They will partnership with our people, and you will see competition. They are going to produce feed meal. But when they buy and there's no success in the production, they will not go back in. They will not invest more money in poultry. Only small scale farming you will see.
Is it true that you can inject egg?
Egg?
Yeah.
That you can inject egg?
You
Oh yes.
can inject egg?
Oh yes.
Is it true?
Yes.
So how do you do that?
When you want to inject an egg, you drill. You have a dental drill. You drill a small hole in it. Then you bring your drug and you inject it. Shook it inside and you inject it.
Okay.
After that, you now have your bond. You seal out the place, you incubate it. It will hatch. We inject it in order to remove. We have done it before. We wanted to produce a featherless fowl. The fowl the broiler that we grow without feathers.
Did you succeed?
We succeeded.
Do we have picture of any of them?
I will show you.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yes. We succeeded at Clemson University. Myself, Professor Walker, he has retired, and D.V. Maurice was a nutritionist. So what we did is to remove the hormone responsible for feather formation. When you drill the egg, you inject it, that injection will kill the hormone. By the time it hatches out, no feathers, only small ones at the tail end. You see it grows because feather we consume, we take greater percentage of the nutrient of the feed the chicken is taking. It goes to the feather. That is why if you mill the feather and send it into feed, it's very high protein.
Prof, why did you go into all this whole research and?
Because we failed when we came to Nigeria. The more we produce chicken, the more they die. The more we give them food, the more they die. The more we give them drugs, the more they die.
So that was what propelled you into...
That was why I went into the research on the monomer system.
So,
to know why they are failing.
Now, having discovered the secret, the hidden success, how are you going to help the farmers?
We will teach them. That's the only thing we can do. When we teach one, in this town today, that's what we teach others. It will begin to spread without going to formal education. We teach them what they cannot learn in any higher institution.
All right, Prof. Thank you so much for your time.
This is the chicken we hatch without feathers.
Okay. Okay.
Without feathers.
Okay.
I started in Spain, Communal University, a Catholic university, where I got a diploma, and that was why I was an interpreter for the United States Air Force Base in Alcala, with most of the Air Force men living in Torrejon quarters. So they were the people who actually sponsored me, because I had no money at the time. My father was poor, so I followed them to the US. And Olisameka, the Nigerian ambassador, he loved what I was doing. I appeared in so many newspapers, American newspapers, feasted me, and later from that, Edith Nicholas, the registrar of Roosevelt University, when I cried to her, she decided I should not go. She sponsored my training for one something. If you look at this paper, I was invited to Savannah, Georgia, in Atlanta, to lecture in a poultry program. Immediately I arrived, it was like the governor who came to welcome me, and I forgot my bag, small bag containing my documents, everything. The following day, I couldn't see it. No, immediately we got home, I couldn't see it. But the following morning, it was in the news. It's here. This is the American newspaper. It was in this news that if the person who found it did not bring it, I will have to wait a week to get transport document from the embassy far away in New York, in Washington, before I go home. After about 2 hours, there was a call. The person who found it called us, and then we went there. It is, you will see my name here, everything is written here. Yeah. It's all tearing away.
It's okay, we are seeing it.
Yes.
It's okay, we are seeing it. Prof, you talked about your educational career. You started in Spain. Was it where you did your primary and secondary?
Primary, anyway, I started here in this village. Then ended up at Catholic school at Warri. Then I went to, I couldn't go higher in time. All my juniors were ahead of me in secondary school. So when it was time for me to do a little higher, I decided going to Lagos so that the boys I was beating in the classes could not come and beat me. That was why I went to Ansarudin College at Ota. And because I graduated from teacher training college, Ota, where Obasanjo was, I was always going there to help Dr. Kwanzaa, who was the manager of Obasanjo Poultry Farm, and the Yabo, the daughter of Obasanjo, is a veterinary surgeon. I was training her to know how to understand the eggs that we hatch and those that will not hatch. that is during candling. She was highly interested, but that place was so far from me, I couldn't go. By 1982, I tried to organize the universities so that we have a department of poultry. I was with Alile Williams, University of Benin. She told me from the onset that there's no money to cite such a department. Ibadan wrote me that they are already doing it. Oh, I was happy, so I went to Ibadan University. When I got there, Sam Okudu, who was the registrar at that time, took me around. What I found was the layers, imported layers they put in the cage for their eggs, breakfast eggs. They are not doing the science. It was Ahmadu Bello University that replied me, invited me. They were ready, but my program here was really more. That place was too far from me, so I did not go. At that time, professors in the university were earning 1,250 naira every month. I could make more than that in a week in my private business. I established Torreon Institute of Advanced Poultry Management at Ibadan. But I alone cannot be teaching, no poultry science teachers. And then, again, I told Ahmadu Bello, it's not possible I come there. Even if I come there and the department is established, where are the teachers? For long, the Ministry of Education wanted poultry science education in universities, in secondary in schools, all over. I prepared a master plan for them. It's not only for Nigeria. This is the master plan for ministries to guide ministries of education in poultry science education. I wrote 3 books. One, Guide on Poultry Science Education for Education Authorities and Science Teachers. This is the one to guide the Ministry of Education in poultry science education. Then a second book, Poultry Science Studies for Academic Institutions. And the third book, Poultry Production for Academic Institutions. The ministry said there's no money. I sent this thing, the proposal to all the ministries. Akwa Ibom, Uyo, they organized a committee to review the thing. They approved 100%. And them, the manager for Uyo Water Board, Akwa Ibom State Water Board, was the one presenting it to them on my behalf. At the end of it, they said there's no money to do it. Calabar approved 100%. At the end of it, they said there's no money to site it. The incubator is nothing but getting the temperature of mother hen, the body heat. You can work it inside. It will not be hotter than the body of a hen or cooler than the body of a hen. Any egg you put inside will hatch. That is incubator. How do we do it? That is where the science comes up. I can convert the whole of this place to become an incubator by making the temperature to be equal to that of a hen. Any egg you throw here, they will hatch. And God has so made it that whether the egg is big, like this, or small like this, the same temperature will hatch it. So when you put the egg here and this one here, you may be saying, this one is big or this one. No, it's the same temperature. There are some eggs small like this, the same temperature, like that of a quail. Only the period of hatching is different. This one, it will take, this is the largest egg in the world, by the largest bird in the world. Then it will take 42 days for this to hatch. The chicken will take 21 days inside, just like the hen covering it to hatch. And the guinea fowl, it takes 28 days more than the chicken to hatch. Turkey is 28 to 30 days. A parrot is about 32 days. Geese, 30 days. So a lot different birds with different hatching period. but they all have the same temperature, the same body temperature. So once you can control the temperature inside a vacuum, it is an incubator.
Mm.
If you can make your mouth, inside the mouth with the same temperature, put an egg there for 21 days, the chick will hatch out.
Wow.
So is that technology we want the students to understand that they can do it. Let them use firewood to do it first, no problem. Even carton, no problem. They are learning. Their children will develop, will do better than they do. We can't wait for Chinese to come and teach us how to mass produce gari.
No.
It's a challenge upon us. It's very, very annoying. We cannot wait for them to come and show us how to plant yam. These are not things beyond our knowledge. So what we are able to do, chickens are natural things. They are not engines. Why can't we produce them? We are crying, they keep dying. They study why, find out why they are dying. This is the thing. Why are they dying? Know yourself without you being trained, being taught. You should find out the reason why they are dying. They need comfort like yourself. I just dump them, where it's not comfortable, and you want them to survive. Now when you bring this chicken out, they have no parental immunity transfer because they have been genetically altered. That is the poultry birds. So they have no sufficient challenge within them to challenge external invasion. That is why they die very quickly. Knowing this, you have to know how to prepare them, to prevent them from death. In the natural system, this is the chick, day-old chick of an ostrich, the biggest bird in the world. This is the bird at day-old. It came from this. You see it here. So anything you can do. We want this thing done. Nigeria said they have no money to train the students.